Hey, Float Magic fans, thanks for tuning in today. I wanted to take an opportunity to speak about the value of experiences, especially during this time of year. Whether you're watching this podcast right when it's dropped or you're referring back to it at another point in time, the holiday season is among us. And the discussion of what to get the people we love always comes up. And this year, I really took that personally into my own practice for my children. I have 4 boys, and they live all over the Northwest here, going to school and forging their own paths in different areas. And so I'm bringing them together with an experience in a cabin where we just have time together, play games, cook meals. They're not getting presents. They know this. They're getting an experience instead. So I thought it would just be valuable to kind of talk as to what that outcome is for people. You may have seen a lot of science cropping up around gift giving, and especially with this being the gift giving time of year, and what the results are of that gift that's a material item versus an experience. Dr. Holmes came out with a study, I believe it was around 2016, that talked about, that followed people who were giving gifts of a $15 gift. Those people who gave a gift of an experience, those who received the gift of the experience, felt closer to their gift giver, and it actually strengthened that relationship. And so he went through the study to go, what is the science behind that? Like, where is that thought process? Well, there's so much intention that happens when you're trying to think of an experience you want to offer somebody versus just a thing. Not that things are bad, but I'm at the point in my life where I have far too many things. I had to downsize my home life when I moved into the home I'm in now. And I thought to myself, I am going to live the minimalist lifestyle. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get rid of all these things. I'm going to let go of all these things. And I didn't. I actually tried to crunch them into the space I'm in, and I'm quickly running out of space all of the time. Why are we so tied to those material items? What is it in those objects that bring us lasting joy? You can think about, your favorite doll as a child, or your favorite, maybe it was a truck that you had. Watching my boys grow up, there was this one truck that my youngest would beat to death. He was using it so much, but he loved that thing. He would take that thing outside and he would run it around in circles in the dirt, and he'd make hills, and it was a dump truck, right? It was one of those big yellow, I think it was Cat, or anyway, one of the big dump trucks that were super popular. And so he'd back it up and pull stuff out of the dump truck and dump it into a pile and go get more. And the kid was just outside for hours playing with that dump truck. Even though it was a material object that he was playing with, it was the experiences that object was giving him that tied him so closely to that object. I think oftentimes we do that in our human experience. We tie an experience to a thing. I used to be in the habit of, when I'd go on trips, especially scuba diving trips, I want to bring something home with me from that trip that reminded me of that experience, whether it be jewelry or some specialty from that area that was only made down there. I remember getting coconut earrings on a scuba diving trip over in Roatan, Honduras, that was actually made by the locals, and it held value to me, right? And I was devastated when I lost one of the earrings, because it was like, oh my gosh, that whole experience is now what? It's the experience still happened. The material object held the memory to a certain degree, But focusing on the object didn't allow me to fully embrace the experience, reliving it in my mind. I'd put those on, it'd be a nice reminder. But since losing that coconut earring, now the rest of that dive trip that I was on just lives in this beautiful fluid memory, this vivid recollection of time and space, and I didn't tie it into objects. So I, in that study of why objects tend to have such a pull for us, they're losing their appeal. They're really losing their luster. They're ending up in landfills. They're ending up on shelves that we collect dust. How often do we hear people say, oh, am I going to just put that up on the shelf for it to collect dust? I'm getting to that point in my life where I don't want the dust collectors. I don't want the things that are going to add to the pollution in our landfills. I want an opportunity to spend time with the people I love and gift them something that they're going to remember and look back on with fond memories of that time together. So how does that play into our center? Well, that's exactly who we are. And that's exactly what we do. We deliver an experience. We talk about it all the time as staff. People are coming in to do a service, yes, but more importantly, individuals are coming in to have an experience. Maybe that experience is with their significant other. When you float with another person, it's an extremely intimate experience. There's no talking. There's very little touching. Sometimes you bump into them from time to time. And hopefully there's no snoring. Sometimes that happens as well. But for the most part, you're in this space together where you're silent and you're just spending time in one another's presence. There's no movie to watch. There's no music to listen to. There's nothing distracting you from being extremely present in that moment. And it can be a very bonding experience for our couples. A lot of people are choosing to spend that time in our center rather than going out and doing so many other things. I just had a conversation with someone today. They actually own a restaurant. So going out to a restaurant is more like doing R&D than it is being an enjoyable experience for them, because they're constantly comparing. They're constantly looking at, oh, what does the menu say? And how is this? It's not present bonding time they're spending together. In this space, there is nothing distracting you. There's nothing coming in. You can sit in our sauna for an hour and sweat it out together. Eventually, you're not going to want to talk a lot. You're going to save that energy for the experience. Or if you go into the cold plunge, you're sitting there encouraging one another through that experience. It can be a very valuable time that you spend. So the other part of that science that was discussed in this article is the how the receiver feels closer to the person who gifted that experience to them. And where does that really come into play? Think about when somebody has provided something for you that's opened your mind. Maybe it's a book. Maybe they've introduced you to a new playlist that you're like, this music exists? I had no idea. And then you start looking up all the artists that are tied to that on your Spotify station or Pandora station. And wow, it opens up almost this whole other side of your creative aspect of yourself. So when you're mindful about the experiences that you are gifting somebody, thinking, what does this young mother really, really need? Is it another kitchen gadget? Maybe. That could probably be beneficial. Or is it time for herself? When I look back at raising 4 boys, their father worked shift work, and he'd be gone all night, and then it was keeping the kids quiet during the day so he could sleep. And talk about a feat, with outside of having a soundproof room, which we didn't have, and blackout curtains, which we were able to accomplish. Trying to make sure that he got the rest he needed so he could go out and provide for his family was a huge challenge for a mother as of myself with my 4 children. But they would, that time together of them being super busy and me not getting time for myself, anytime somebody gifted that to me, whether it came to me in babysitting hours so I could have time with my husband, or it came to me in, hey, we know this is going on for, maybe it was a paint night or a movie night with my neighbor girlfriends. I am very fond of those people still today that took the effort to recognize that would be such a valuable time for me, and that would be such it stands out in my memory. There's not a lot of things that stand out in my memory throughout the years like that. Like I've opened several gifts. I've been to several places. I've spent lots of time doing lots of different things, but the ones that had intention behind it, the ones that were truly given, you can say from the heart, those are the ones that had a greater impact in my life. Those are the ones where I felt the resonance of the intention beyond just the moment of opening the gift, because it took so much more time and thought and forethought to put that type of a gift together. And not that effort is any different. Think about how much time we take shopping. I used to be a shopper. My mom groomed me to be a shopper, and I could speed walk through the mall and get so much shopping done. And at one point in time, I used to enjoy it. I went shopping last Saturday, and I realized I don't enjoy shopping. I don't like standing in lines. I get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, well, there's this gift. Oh, well, that's stocking stuffer. And I could do that stocking stuffer. Oh, well, what about this person, this person, this person, this person? And I just start to overwhelm myself with all the things that I could buy. And I had to stop myself and go, wait a minute, this year you're giving an experience. You don't need all those things. What of that is truly going to amplify this experience that you're giving? And why are you taking time and money away from that experience? And what effort I could be putting into that outcome? I want to be thinking about what I'm going to make while I'm over there. I want to think about where we're going to go snowshoeing while we're over there, what time we're going to spend in nature, and what days we're going to spend out on the elk farm, and all the fun things that we're looking to do that is going to equate in time together with a memory that we all have together. And so those shopping days for me are coming to an end, I hope. I truly don't enjoy the shopping experience anymore. And it's because I've shifted that value to experience. So back to what we deliver here at Float Magic. So often, if you haven't been into our center, I highly encourage you. And those of you who've been in, you know what I'm speaking to right now. So you walk in our door and immediately there's a sense of calm. One of the chillest business owners I know just walked in today, and he caught even more chill just by being in our center. And pretty amazing that a space can elicit that type of response. I still have so much gratitude for how that all came to be, so much gratitude for my employees that deliver that to everybody that walks in the door. So much gratitude for the people who respect and honor the space the sanctuary. I truly do believe this is a sanctuary. And when people walk in that door, they feel it too. They feel the intentions that were put into this gift of this center for this community. I was deep in conversation with a gentleman that was in the other day, and he asked me, he goes, "Who designed your space? And who, did somebody come in and decorate?" And I said, "No, I did it all." It talked about the flow state several times and how I was there. And I know I've talked about this on other podcasts, but he spoke to understanding and feeling the intention that I had when I built this space. He could feel it. And I think that's the beauty of what intention creates. It's an energy movement. You're pushing energy through an experience. You're pushing energy into an outcome. You're pushing energy into a hope, a dream, a purpose. And it can literally be felt by the receiving party. It literally is tangible enough to be felt in the body of what that intention was. So as we were talking through, that yes, I designed all this, and I said, it was during COVID, so I had time to think through everything. I even thought through exactly the paint colors. I searched for the paint colors that were named the things that I wanted to portray in the center. Mindful gray, all the gray that you see on my walls. It's called mindful gray. And that was with intention. That was with purpose. My blues, serenity blue. Couldn't have asked for a better color, right? And when I finally found the color, and when you're trying to decide between the few shades of color and you go, okay, do I want this blue? Do I want this blue? What made the deciding factor was the name of the color itself. And I love the blue that we have on our walls, in our extra rooms. And that was all surrounded by intention and the opportunity that I had to slow down enough to think about that. And that truly is the joy of gifting an experience, is you get to sit down and consider all the ebbs and flows of that person, their likes, their dislikes, what brings them joy. When I thought about what I wanted to give for an experience this year, having my boys out on the ski hill, so joyful. Such a rejuvenating experience, even if we're just snowshoeing, walking in nature. It's such a gift to be able to think through how that's going to be received by those that I love. That in itself is a gift before I even get to give the gift. Making sure that the experience follows its intention. What a beautiful thing that we get to do. So, as you're considering what to give those around you this holiday season, truly think and consider what we might offer here at Flow Magic. We have our salt cave that you can sit in for an hour, just have a conversation. We can have 6 of you in there at a time. Maybe your family's coming to town. Maybe this is the first time that your son is bringing home his girlfriend, and you really want to take the opportunity to get to know them and really put them in a space where they don't feel guarded and like they have to have, their armor on just to make sure they're impressing the potentially future mother-in-law, or this man that they're in love with, prime figure of mother. That's a very big bill this time of year for people. So bring them in, allow them that opportunity to just relax and be themselves. Get in our massage chairs, loosen that body up, experience a float together. take the time for yourself and your loved one to just do that, to gift that to one another, to gift that to yourself. Maybe you need time to figure out what you're going to gift everybody. Come in, think about that. Spend some time in the sauna, spend some time in the float where you can just allow your brain. Our brains are so incredibly gifted at storing information. And when we're constantly throwing stimulus at it so that it can't sort through that, and we give it some space and time, that information will just come together beautifully and ideas just pop up. It amazes me how often I find solutions in a float tank, how often I solve issues or I get clarity on something that has been bothering me or that I really need to make a move on. Maybe I need to step in a direction that I'm avoiding when I float. It really gives me that connectivity and that power to go, oh, this is exactly why I need to get that done, because it's all come to the forefront. And my brain has sorted through everything it needs to sort through. It can be the same experience as taking a long walk, putting your body in motion, doing mindless activities where you're not focused on a task, so your mind can process in the very gifted way that it's designed to do. Consider this year giving that gift of experience. And please consider coming by Float Magic and seeing what we have to offer. Remember, you can catch our podcast anywhere where you enjoy watching your podcasts. We are open 6 days of the week. We're only closed Tuesdays for a deep clean, for a reset, so our own center can have its time to completely chill in the energy that it gives so freely the rest of the week. So Mondays, Wednesdays through Sundays, we're open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can come see us anytime. Come take a tour. Come take a look at what we have and start thinking through who on your gift list would really benefit from that type of an experience. And don't forget to include yourself. It's perfectly okay to stay salty, and we encourage you to stay salty with us.